So, L-Trappo, here we are. I can't get it to autoplay the music. Apparently, there's something that stops it doing on modern browsers and stuff like that. It won't autoplay the music, but I'm sure there's a way around it. But I've just got it so that as soon as you interact with the page, the background music will start. All there is ambience at the moment, running water, birds chirping, things like that. You have got a little player in the bottom left to change the track that you want. Yeah, I quite like the first one. There's only 3 on there at the moment. You've got the controls up here on the top left, and if you want to just have a mess around with it, you can interact with it and play the demo. It means you can just interact with the pieces and get familiar with how the mechanics works. You've always got this reference up here with the controls. You can rotate with the mouse wheel, and you use WASD to flip up and down, left and right. Yeah. Right click cancels the move, see? Boop. And left click places the piece. And you just press reset game down here to reset the board, or go back to the main menu. And I will be creating different rule sets in the future, so you can choose which rules you operate under when you're doing matchmaking. In the meantime, there's only classic rules, where each turn you must move your L-shaped piece into a new location, and you have a choice of whether to move one of the 2 neutral coins. If you don't want to move any coins, that's fine, you can just skip the coin move. If you skip moving your L piece, you only have that 3 times, but the 3rd time is a forfeit. You forfeit the game. So you can only skip your L piece twice. If you want to skip it again, you basically forfeit in the game. So yeah, and then there's lots of variations from the rules. There's a couple of like optional variants where you have to choose the coin, you have to move a coin, or you have to move both pieces, or you can move both pieces, stuff like that. So it's just a bit of coding, you know, just building out the options. But then there are completely different rule sets as well, which I will build down in the future. But for now, we've got the framework. I want to build out all the graphics and make it really nice. I want little fishes, I want little splashes, I want sound effects, maybe some birds flying across or whatever. I want to bring some scale to it. This one, you sort of feel like you might be playing in a kind of shallow pond somewhere, or something. You know, there's a little bit of rock under there. I want to give it some scale and stuff to really get the player immersed into the environment, but at the same time keep it relaxing, you know, not overwhelmed. I kind of like the idea of like a lava environment as well, a little volcano environment, some lava instead of water and stuff like that. I don't know. And it would be cool that, like here with the music options, if I can change the environment, so each player can have their own environment that they're playing in. They can just cycle the environments, and it just switches it out. That's the beauty of Three.Js. You can just swap all these things out quickly, and it's really cool. I've really gotten familiar with Three.Js, and I've come to sort of love it. And TypeScript as well. This has been a big thing for me, because this was my first proper TypeScript project. So menu, what we can do is find a match. So find a match, boop, and we have a match. It says here opponent's turn. Oh, let me just move myself out of the way. Can go and sit there. Skip L move, or I can't move. If you can't move, obviously you'll forfeit in the game. It's done, you're over, you're finished. My move, so I can pick up my piece. I cannot place the piece here. It won't let me put it down because it's the same place where I came from. I can only cancel the move, which is right click. And I did have it outlining at first, but it just looked, it sort of, I don't know what happened. It breaks it when it outlines the piece for some reason. I think it's because the outline pass is a render pass, and it outlines the object underneath as well, and it kind of breaks the neatness of the graphics and shows seams and things that you wouldn't notice, like gaps between the objects and things that you wouldn't notice otherwise. And when the outline is there, it completely ruins it. So what I've done is I've just changed the cursor to a pointer, you know. So yep, we can lift that up, we can place that there. Now I can skip the coin move if I want. Let's skip the coin move. Now it's the opponent's turn, yeah. we've got 2 going on there. And now if I want, I can skip my L move back to this one. I'm just playing against myself here. Do you know what? I'll skip it as well. We've got a skip counter down here, as you can see. That's 2 now. I'm going to skip mine as well, and then you skip that and you forfeit the game, return to menu. And that's pretty much it at the moment. You know, we've got some settings here. You can change the sound. We haven't got any sound effects in there yet, and the music volume obviously. Rule set, currently there's just classic. So yeah, I've tried to keep it nice and simple. I'm happy with it. Now as for the code, I actually have kept the main program as functional procedural code, primarily because, well, I don't overuse OOP, and hang on, where am I? I don't like using OOP unnecessarily. Basically, it causes a big mess. It makes everything bloated. I just like having a nice list of helper functions, passing data around and getting results. Yeah, so it's all one thing. This is how I do it. I use classes for like little tools that I might reuse again in other places. And something I've also noticed is that I tend to do this when I'm doing anything in JavaScript, TypeScript, Three.Js. I tend to work that way. And then if I'm working in Python, I work a completely different way. So in Python, I tend to go for OOP based software development, and then I'll have Py files just full of helper functions, which is like the inverse of what I do in this. It's so weird. I just have completely different ways of working in these different languages that I've just naturally developed while using them for some reason, these little habits. Create the scene, bog standard, controls GUI, that is a class, that's here. So this is the controls class. It just means that it's reusable. Quick class, it could be reusable if it was functional, but it keeps it compact and built. It's got its functionality in there. It makes sense in my head that, oh, this is just a little tool I could use anywhere. Keep it as a class. What other classes do I have? I have the audio manager. This is just play track, preload tracks. I had to preload the audio and cache it because there was a big gap, like a good full second delay between tracks, but it meant that when the music looped, there was a very big delay. So I'm preloading the tracks, caching them. We've got, you know, basic functions here. I haven't used play sound effects yet, but that's in a class because I could use that anywhere in any project. Audio tracks, it's just a data file. FPS stats, I wrote this, and even though I realized later there is actually a module for Three.Js to show the FPS and stuff, but I wrote one anyway, just because I wanted to see the processing frames per second as well, so I've got that going on. And this is my music controller here. So this is the controls that you see on the page on the bottom left. Basic stuff, you can have a look through it if you want. I'm not going to go on an in-depth code analysis here. This is I might do a video on that. I think I've shown you my grid shader before, actually. I think I've done these in a previous video. I went through the code early on. This is some of that's new code. The audio manager is new, music controller, all this networking stuff is new. As you can see, the main TS, I'm just going down, starting the scene, creating the ground materials, you know, setting up all the ground textures and all that sort of stuff. Stick the ground in there first, then I set up the water. Well, I half set it up here. There's 2 water systems running, so I half set it up. I took a water 2. It's called water2.js. That's a publicly available on GitHub. I modified it, obviously saved it as water 3, because water.ts is my own custom water renderer as well. So I've got 2 working side by side, and I had an awful lot of problems with that, and I had all these warnings because I was reading and writing texture buffers in WebGL at the same time, and it took a lot of working out. I might do a whole video on that because it is actually interesting and useful for other people. Yep, my post-processing stuff, as you can see here, I've taken out the outline parts. I don't like it. In fact, I could show you what that looks like really, but let's just controls, set up all the lights, set up the grid, you know, my laser grid shader, pop that in there, pop that in the scene. Grid collision system, I've explained this in another video. I've got in the grid, I've got little boxes in each cell that are invisible. They're meshes, they're collision. I use them as collision boxes like you would have in Unity. Colors for the game pieces currently, because I haven't bothered to make the pieces yet. That's what I want to get into now, doing all the graphics, making it look nice. I want them to be like nice stones and things and have texture and all that stuff. Yep, setting up all the data types and interfaces. Here I'm using const instead of enums. I'll explain why later on. I'll go through, I think I probably will have to do a code review for all this. It is massive. And then all the event listeners. And I've got some functions here for these are the menu functions. I don't think I've gone through these. It is actually a lot of code now, I'm looking at it. Because the menus are just HTML, right? I'm just generating HTML, as you can see here. I'm injecting it into the page on top of the game. It's very cool stuff, actually. I really enjoyed doing this. It's very, very cool stuff. So all I'm doing here is, you know, setting all the styles as you would in CSS. It's just CSS and HTML. That's all it is. Bit of JavaScript, well, which is TypeScript in this case, but you know, for some functionality. Just switching up what the style is and what it looks like and what buttons are there and what are not and how the menu should behave. So we've got main menu, the settings menu, the about menu. There's all the writing there and everything that you see on the about page. I could compartmentalize all this as well, but I'm the only person working on this thing. I've been building it out as I'm going along. It's over 2,500 lines of code in match controls, you know, all here. Hide match controls, skip move, then we've got all the skip move things. Here's the initial setup as well, where I set up a lot of HTML for the main menus and all the elements that the other menus use and populate. This is the whole network section. This is all new. This is what I've done in the past couple of weeks. All this stuff I've done in the past. It's been a real learning curve, this. It's good. I've come out of it wiser. It's general stuff. You're opening a connection. You're talking to the server, waiting to go in a queue, and then the server connects you, opens data channels, and you're just updating the game according to what's going on there, triggering different game modes and things as the network connects. Here I've got send game state, so anytime I need to send the state, it sends across the current mode, whose turn it is, the current turn phase, whether it's L or coin. The scores, the rule sets, I haven't really made use of that yet. And then of course the positions of all the game objects, and that's it. That's all I need to send each time. And then I update the game based on all those things. This is the handle network message. So this is receiving this data and what to do with it when it comes in. So I'm just updating everything, up the position of everything, the turns, the phases, the scores, blah, blah, blah. It's really simple, yeah? Once you know how it works and you get it together, it's very actually straightforward and it makes sense looking back at it. Maybe a couple new ones here, simple ones, turn indicator. The rest, I think I've shown in previous videos, all my checks. Obviously they've been edited now because we've got players. The extra stuff I've done is just checking whose turn it is and making sure that the piece doesn't belong to the other player and all these things, just making sure everything's correct. Player actions, yeah, so this is how it's set up. This is the other water setup that we do in the beginning. In its scene, we load everything in, set everything, all the starting positions. That's another rules variant, is the starting positions. You can have custom starting positions to make up your own challenges in the game. That's the whole program. That's 2,500 lines of code, just the main program, and that's it. And I'm using TypeScript 3.js with Vite. And if you're wondering what IDE I'm in WebStorm, JetBrains. I use all the JetBrains IDEs. So yeah, happy. I can get on with the graphics, and if, I don't know, promote it somehow, see, get people playing it, if people like it, and start playing it, build it out. Like I say, I've got it on Heroku at the moment. It's costing me $7 a month to keep it running 24/7, so there's no spin up time, it's just there. So yeah, go and play it, share it on your social media, share it as much as possible, get people playing it. Eventually then I can create accounts, people can keep their scores, we can have a world scoreboard, custom pieces, maybe a marketplace, maybe, you know, I'll have to somehow monetize it, maybe just get people to pay what they want to play it, or have like have my own arcade, or make it a crypto version and an NFT version where the pieces are NFTs. I'll figure something out, but for the moment let's just try and get a player base for it, because it's a great game. I need people to play it to also find bugs. There's only so many I'm going to find playing it by myself. I need it to be tested real world. So let me know in the comments what you think of it, any of the ideas you've got, feedback. Drop me a line on X. All the links are in the description, on my website even, the emails there. Just get in touch however you feel that you want to get in touch, and let me know. Sharing is caring, so like, subscribe, and share the hell out of it. Thanks for watching.